Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good Tuesday so far. Got a good night's sleep and ready to rock and roll today. Today, we're going to be talking all about eXp Realty agent attraction, business planning, and goal setting. And so that's a mouthful. We'll get started here in a few seconds, right at the top of the hour at 9 o'clock. Welcome to those of you guys that are joining us on Facebook Live. We've got the streaming and Team Disruptor right now. And we've also got us on Zoom. So I got everybody muted when they come in. We're going to start right at 9. We got a lot to cover, but then we will open up the mics at the end, and we'll open it up to Q&A, and people can leave feedback and comment about what they think. So, but that being said, it looks like it's the top of the hour. So we will go ahead and get started, guys. Real quick, let me stop the share here. All right. Perfect. All right, guys. Well, welcome to the call. Today is Tuesday, and we are going to be talking today about eXp Realty agent attraction, business planning, and goal setting. So if you guys have been following along the last couple of weeks, we are actually building out as we go kind of a quick start guide for new agents at eXp that are looking to grow their revenue share business. And so this is actually the third step that we have in the process. And I think it's so important to really talk about this, because even though it's the third step, it actually kind of is one of the first. I mean, it's still part of the first things that you have to go through as an eXp agent and an agent attractor. And so we're going to be talking about how to actually set goals, what you need to be thinking about, what types of things go into your business plan. And let me just start by saying, because if anybody is watching this now or in the future, agent attraction is a different business. Like, if you plan to take this, far, you got to plan for it different than your normal real estate sales business. Yes, you can attract agents as you're selling homes, and obviously that's going to be part of the strategy and things that we talk about. But at the same point in time, you do need to put different effort and separate effort into this if you really want to make the most impact in this side of your business. And so that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about the tools that you need to have to set up your business. We're going to talk about some questions that you need to ask yourself when getting ready to build this business plan of yours. And then we're actually going to go into detail about the wealth chart, because that's going to be one of the tools that we talk about, and how to set up your wealth chart, what you need to do with it, and go from there. So, all right. So with that being said, guys, we're going to just jump right into it. Let me see here. Where do we want to start? So we'll go ahead and start by what questions you need to ask yourself. All right. So let's think about, these are going to be some of the most important questions. And some of the people that, I've talked to that have been here for a year or 2 years at eXp alongside the same, time as me, they probably still haven't maybe answered some of these questions. And when I say answer them, you need to write it down. I think that it's so important that, when you write out your goals, when you write out your business plan, that it's not just a thought. It's not like things that you think about. I mean, you do want to think about them, but you need to write this stuff out. Okay. It's so important to write all of this out. So the first question you need to ask yourself is, why are you building a revenue share business in the first place? Right? Like, what is your why? Like, why did you, join eXp? Maybe it was just you wanted to sell more homes or whatnot. That's great. That's your why. But this is a different why. This is for those of you that are looking to grow a revenue share business. Why are you growing a revenue share business? Because truly, if you're going to build this as a business, you got to treat it like a separate business from your real estate sales. And if you're going to go through all of that trouble to learn new things, to focus your time, your energy, your efforts on new things, like, why are you doing that? Is it so you have freedom? Is it because you want to get out of real estate sales? Is it because you just are tired of doing stuff in real estate and you want a different challenge? Like, what is it? Do you want to help more people? Like, do you want to help real estate agents? Is that a passion of yours? What is it? And so, really answer that, define it, write it out in your own words, have that be like your guiding light, right? Like, cause it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. You're going to have doubts. And if you don't have a strong enough why, you're going to kind of fall short of doing what you want to do. You might quit. And so, you definitely don't want that. You need a really strong why of why you do this. And it's the best to do it in the very beginning. When you're fired up, you're excited about this, right? Sometimes, if you try and do this down the road, you get like just kind of burnt out, not burnt out, but you just get tired of it. And like, maybe you can't even think of a strong enough why at that time. Whereas in the beginning, it's so fresh in your mind, why you did this. So definitely dig deep and figure out that answer. All right. How much money would you like to be earning from revenue share in 12 months and in 3 years? I think those are kind of two of the biggest milestones that you can maybe, kind of goal set for early on. And I think you want to base it around money, right? Because that's essentially what's going to give us the freedom. It's going to give us options and opportunities. Putting an agent number goal, I mean, that's important. We'll talk about where you can do that. But honestly, just putting an amount of number of agents, unless your goal is to truly impact agents' lives, like then you might change that up and make the goal be how many agents do you want in your organization or that you want to impact. But for the most of us, I would say it's probably financial. So, put out like what you want to be making monthly in 12 months. So like if in 12 months you want to be making an extra $2,000, put that down. If in 3 years you want to be making, an extra, I don't know, let's just say annually an extra, $250,000 annually in revenue share, put that down. If you just need to make $60,000 annually in revenue share, put that down. But you need to write that out about what your goals are in 12 months and then in 3 years, right? And it could be an annual goal, it could be a monthly goal, but just have a goal there. So like in 12 months, what would you want to be earning monthly or annually for the next 12 months in revenue share? And then in 3 years, what would you hope that your revenue share checks would look like that month in 3 years from now? Or what would you hope that it would be out 12 months from the 3 years? So like annually at that point in time. So have those down. All right. What are your personal and organizational goals for agent attraction, monthly, yearly, and 3 years? So this is where you put how many personals, how many in your organization do you want each month, each year, in 3 years? Now, I will tell you, your monthly goals is where you can do the personals. And your organization. Your organization's going to be harder to kind of set goals for that month in and month out. But definitely let's just say you had a goal that you want to recruit 1 agent per month, or maybe it's not even that. Maybe you want to recruit 1 agent per quarter, right? So 4 per year, whatever that is, you want to write that out. What is your personal? How many you commit to attracting? Now, the organizational goals, again, putting that out as like a monthly thing early on probably doesn't matter as much, but definitely it's something you'd want to at least, write down and have a set plan for in a year and 3 years. Like I want to have, 5 agents personally in 1 year, and I want to have 10 in my organization in the first year. And then in 3 years, I want to have 15 agents, and I want to have, 65 in my organization total, or whatever it might be for you, right? Like that's kind of what that goal would look like right there. All right. Now, the reason why I think that, because these are not only just going to be goals, but these are also going to be part of your business plan. And I'm going to show you how you take something from being just a goal and verifying that it's even possible and that it aligns with what we see as agent attractors as part of your business plan. So I'll show you that once we get into the revenue share calculator. I'll explain how to use the revenue share calculator. So that way, again, you can match up and make sure that your income lines up with what you're putting down as your goals for how many agents are in your organization. All right. Next, this is part of your business plan. How many names are currently in your list? We talked about lists last week. And a lot of people, they put out a different number of like right now, literally, if you had to export your list and a database that was organized, with names, emails, phone numbers, all that kind of stuff, how many are in it currently, right? Don't worry about even if you have people in other, databases, like they're in your contacts, they're just not organized, that's fine. But literally, if you were starting today, how many are in an easily list that you can export? Might be 0, might be 50, it might be 300. And then how many names will you add to your list weekly? So that's the thing, is like, even if your list isn't perfect right now, that's okay, because put it in your business plan of how many are you going to put into your list every single week. Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3. And if that's the case, now you can go through all those other sources where you have people, but it's just not organized. And then you start adding them to your list. Like, it doesn't have to be brand new people. It just might be people that are not organized yet in your list. So those are the easy, like that's the low hanging fruit of how you start gaining, getting that list going. And, and so even if it's 2 or 3, right? Like, and you've got to, go call a couple of those agents to get all of their numbers. Maybe they're not even agents. Maybe they're just friends of yours, but you need to reconnect with them. That's fine, but add those people to your list weekly. All right. The other thing you got to get very clear on is how much time and what times will you time block each week towards attracting agents. All right. So this is super important. I think you got to get super clear in the beginning of how much time you're willing to put into this business, right? Again, you got to treat it like a different business. It's not just real estate sales, right? Because we're talking about times that you're going to make time to go meet with agents, right? For coffee, for lunch. Doesn't have to be on pitching them eXp, but you want to start incorporating times that you can just start connecting with agents more strategically, right? Like just, building those relationships with people. And so that's going to take time, for agent meetings, for lunch and learns, right? Like, even if you bring an agent or you don't bring an agent, you still need to be going to the lunch and learns. That's an hour to 2 hours minimum each week out of your schedule, right? And are you going to go? You need to be consistent. So you want to time block and figure out that. Company events, you got to figure out, are you going to be going to the company events? And if so, make sure that that's part of your business plan. How many hours does that take? Well, you're probably going to have to travel. It's probably going to take, a full 3 or 4 days. Put that in your business plan. Webinars. Are you going to be attending webinars on a weekly basis? There's probably 10 webinars or more that go on consistently on a weekly basis. I do one every Tuesday night. You're doing one tonight. I know other agents that do them on Sundays and Wednesdays and basically every day that you could imagine. So you plug into those, right? Have those ready. Be prepared to not only go yourself, whether you have people or you don't, but also if you want to bring people to those. So, you can start learning more. You can start inviting people to it. And then training. That's another one. Like, this is all part of this business plan that you got to figure out. How much hours are you willing to dedicate, right? Like, are you going to read books? Are you going to listen to podcasts? Are you going to go attend training? Are you going to, go to other events, like other, industry events where you can network with agents? All sorts of stuff like that. Phone calls, prospecting, all this stuff needs to be in that business plan of how much time you plan to dedicate to this business, and be very honest and clear. Like, I've got 5 hours a week I can, dedicate to agent attraction. Perfect. I'm not telling you a number that you have to put. I'm just telling you that you need to put a number and you need a time block for what you're going to use that time for. Okay. But those are all the different events that you might want to consider as time blocking for. All right. What's your budget, right? Like, how much do you plan to invest in this business, in agent attraction, right? Like, you got to think events. You should absolutely budget events into your budget, right? If you're not going to the events, you're not getting this. I'm telling you, you got to go to the events. Absolutely have to. People will tell me last minute, like, oh, I don't have money. And because they didn't budget it in the beginning. If you budget it, that we do 2 eXp sanctioned events every single year, right? And then Brent Gove's organization, which we all get invited to, but he does 2 events every single year, right? Scott Lewis, Rob Flick, they host an event every single year. So really, you're looking at 4 to 5 events. And if you kind of figure out, each event probably runs about $1,500, right? Or more. And it depends. If you're bringing a spouse, it's going to be more. But you're looking at, and you can get, go with somebody, share a room, you can drive to the events if you have to save money. But whatever that means, you got to budget for these events, right? So what's your budget? What's your full budget? Like, hey, I plan to spend $5,000 this year on agent attraction. Perfect. Budget it, right? set aside some money for it. So that way, when things come up, you're not like surprised. You have that money to buy the plane ticket. You have the money, to buy the event ticket or whatever it might be, right? So you got to set a budget. Also in your budget, you want to think of things like lunches, coffee for agents and for people that you're going to network with, right? You want to budget in your system training, right? There might be some training systems that you want to, purchase or subscribe to. I subscribe to a few of them, and they're not all just real estate, right? Some of them are network marketing. There's different books that I've bought, all sorts of things like that, I'm just trying to always get, more educated about, how this business works, because it is different than sales. Recruiting is different than sales. So systems, like, do you plan to buy any systems for your agent attraction business? I'll tell you, I don't think that there has to be systems that you purchase, right? I think you can do this on a shoestring budget. You could, use Excel for your database, and then really it's just prospecting, right? And taking people to lunches and coffees, which we've already got that in the budget. So systems wise, I mean, there's not a whole bunch of stuff you have to go buy money for there or use money for. All right. And then now we're going to get a little bit even more clear, right? And this is all based off of your goals, right? Like if you've got big goals, if you want to attract 2 agents per month versus if you want to attract 1 agent every 2 months, like these numbers are going to be different. But let me give you what they are, and we'll talk a little bit about them. We'll back them out. So first off, we've got how many in-person agent meetings will you go on per month, right? This is not an exposure, right? So I'm not asking you to go out there and how many people are you going to go present the eXp model to. That's not what this is asking. This is asking how many people will you go and just build a better relationship with. Maybe you'll talk about eXp, maybe you won't, right? But how many people will you, agents that have an opportunity to join eXp, do you plan to go sit with for coffee, for lunch on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, right? So like, is it 2 a month? Is it 8 a month? 2 a week? Like, what is that, right? And how many exposures to the eXp business model will you make per month? Now, this is a completely different question, right? Like, this is how many people are you going to get to a lunch and learn? How many people are you going to get to a webinar? How many people are you going to sit with and have them watch an eXp video with you in their presence, whether it's on Zoom, whether you're there with them in person, whatever that might be? How many exposures will you make of the eXp model per month? And so now here's kind of what my take on it is I feel like based on exposures, that if you expose somebody, 25% of those people will join, right? Like, and more than that will join over time. But at the time that you expose people, usually within those next 30 days or so, 1 out of 4 will join, right? So if you have a goal that you want 2 agents to join your organization per month, you would need to expose 8 people per month, right? Now, I'll tell you, that is very conservative, because over time, you're going to get more people that you exposed maybe 3 months ago, 6 months ago, that will end up, saying, hey, okay, now I'm ready, whatever that might be. But hey, let that be the bonus, right? But so, think of it as 1 out of 4. So you want to expose whatever your goal is. If your goal is 2 or 1 every 2 months, right? Then that just means that you need to do 4 exposures every 2 months. So basically 2 per month is how many exposures you would need to get 1 every 2 months. And so that's just my, quick rule of thumb. That is what you would want to look for as far as how many people you're taking to lunch and learns, webinars, all that kind of stuff. Now, out of that, like I'm saying, now you're going to backtrack that and you're going to say, okay, well, if I need 8 exposures per month, I need to be meeting with more agents than that per month, in person or, via Zoom or something. But it's got to be like they see you, you see them kind of thing. This isn't just like I sent them a Facebook message or I texted them. Like, you need to start building a relationship. And so if you've got big goals like 2 per month and you're, exposing 8 agents per month, you need to be meeting with more than that. You probably, I would say, at least double that, right? So double whatever it is your exposures, is to how many people you're going to meet. So you're going to meet with 16 people per month or 16 agents per month. That's how I would kind of back that out and kind of come to those numbers. How many local real estate events will you attend per month? And this kind of goes into the list building part of it, right? Like, how many agents are you wanting to add to your list weekly, right? Are you adding 2 agents to your list weekly? Are you adding 5 agents to your list weekly? Well, if you want to go to an event, you probably can pick up a couple business cards from agents there if you just go to one event per week. All right. So like that's something you want to put into your business plan. It can be local events. It could be like other ways that somehow you can meet agents, right? Like, I mean, I don't know what other events you can go to. Maybe it's, like a conference that you go to attend and you get 10 business cards while you're at the conference, right? And so, all right, now here we go. So when would you like to start a weekly lunch and learn in your area? Now, this question goes to the people who have big goals, right? Like the only way that I see, somebody really, really, really just knocking it out of the park is you got to become a comfortable presenter of the model, right? Like if you really want to, take this to another, most of the big attractors, I'm talking about the ones that we know now, right? Like you look at Rob Flick, Scott Lewis, Tracy Lewis, Brent Gove, Jay Kinder, even like myself, Connor Steinbrook, Ian Flanagan, we are all comfortable presenting the model, right? Doesn't mean that we all do a lunch and learn, but we're all comfortable presenting the model. So at what point would you be able to start a weekly lunch and learn if it doesn't exist in your area already, right? Would you like to be able to present the model in a year from now, 6 months from now, 18 months from now? What is it? And make that be a goal if you want to do this big. If you never have to present, then great. But hey, you want to, at least in your mind, think, if I want to really, really do this and I want to be able to help my agents duplicate, because that's truly what the events are for. It's not just so I can, recruit more people. It's because eventually I'm going to have an organization big enough that they would benefit if I'm somehow able to help them plug into something where they can, grow agents without having to present themselves, right? And so you want to be thinking of that already early on. Maybe that's a year from now, but if that's a year from now, that just goes to show you, okay, well, hey, probably I'm going to want to start going to as many presentations as I can so I can start to hear the lingo, hear what, people say, how they present it, pick up my own style. Then maybe like 6 months in, I might, ask to start maybe be a part of a webinar, like, talk about a section on a webinar. So that way I can start getting comfortable with a section at a time. And then, you work your way up to it, right? That's how I did it. That's how I know Curtis has done it. And so, even Pat Hayes, I mean, his story is kind of funny. He kind of got thrown into it, but he was going to them quite often, seeing Scott Lewis do it. And so anyways, that's, just my take there. Put that into your business plan. All right. So those are the questions that you're going to want to ask yourself when you're building out this business plan. I think that's enough to kind of get you started, at least for right now. I'm sure there's probably questions that I missed or ways that you can be more specific, but that will definitely at least get your juices flowing, get you thinking about it all. And anyways, the way that I've always been told to look at a business plan is you literally want it to be, it's funny, my mentor, Josh Sigmund, is the one that told me this. You want it to be so clear that it's like the sound of music. Like you're literally sitting up on the top of a hill, you're looking out, everything is just so beautiful and clear. Like you want your business plan to be that clear. So you might do it, go back to it, and do it again, get it more clear, like, put in more numbers, figure out exactly as clear as you can get it. And I'll be honest, guys, it's something's really crazy about when you write things down. It's so much more important than if you just think it through, right? So if you write it down, I've written out goals that I thought were impossible that I hit because I wrote them down. I go back, a year and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I wrote that down. And even still, like I put a card in my wallet, a business card. I remember, I don't even know what event I went to, but they had me write what I wanted to make in income in the next 12 months. And I wrote it on one of my business cards. On the back of it, it says, I will net $250,000 in the next 12 months. Well, I'll tell you, I'm at $250,000 net 12 months in period. It's so weird how that stuff happens. It is really, really crazy. So I'm telling you, write it down. You will not even believe what can happen when you write your goals and your business plan down. So, all right, cool. All right, guys. So now what I want to do, I'm going to kind of get into some of the tools that I think that you need. We may have talked about these before, but I just wanted to make sure that they're out there. First, we'll start with the books. I think these books are great reads for you to kind of get your mindset right, for you to start thinking of how to build this business, different things that we haven't talked about. But a couple of the books that I always recommend everybody, Building an Empire by Brian Carruthers. That's always the first book I recommend agents read that are looking to build their agent attraction business. The next one is Go Pro by Eric Worre. Another great book. And then for a mindset shift, this one's not so much about building your organization. It kind of is a little bit, but it's more about like helping you really create your why and really know, what's possible because of like residual income and really like what you can do if you focus on this business. And that book is called Better Than Beach Money by Jordan Adler. Great, great book. He puts a lot of different examples in there, makes you think differently. So I really like that. Podcasts, these are a couple tools that I think are important. They've helped me out. I listen to the Eric Worre podcast. I think it's like a weekly thing, if not more. It's great, just mindset ways of thinking. It gives you some strategies, some tactics. And then just so everybody knows, I'm coming out with one called the Agent Attractors podcast. And it's going to basically be all of these trainings in podcast form. So you'll be able to go back, re-listen to things in your car while you're driving, doing other things. So you don't have to watch the YouTube video or, be in front of a computer or whatever. So anyways, so I think those are a couple podcasts that I would recommend. All right. Now next, the other two tools that we're going to talk about. First off, we're going to talk about the revenue share calculator. And I want to show what this is, the way you need to look at it, and how you're going to be able to do that for your business planning. Okay. So let me open this up real quick here. Share. All right. So here's the revenue share calculator. You can get to it by revsharecalculator.com. Okay. You'll see it here. I've got one that's a little bit different, and I'm going to, go through it here in 1 second. So it basically, mine's the same. It comes out with the exact same numbers. It just shows them differently because I like to see how many agents are in the organization here. And so if we look at it, here's the variables that I think that you need to put into the rev share calculator, right? 6 properties sold annually per year. $225,000 is the average price of a sold property. 3% commission. And the reason why those need to be your variables when you're creating your business plan is because that's an average of $40,000 in income for the agents. And so if you look at NAR, if I look at in my entire organization, I can actually pull out and see what average the agents have averaged in the last 12 months, and it's $40,000. That's what it is, right? Like, so a lot of the numbers that eXp Realty or that you might see on slides of presentations, like the 5x5 slide and the 10x10 slide, they all show like what you could earn if they're all capping agents. And we all know that that's not a true scenario, right? What the true scenario is that, the average agent is a half capper. That's just what it is. And so it's $40,000. So those are the variables that you put in here to have this thing be as accurate as possible, because you want to make sure you're putting in the right assumptions when you're creating your business plan. All right. So once we have those assumptions in here, again, you can do it all on here. I'm just going to show it on here because it makes it a little bit easier, but I got the same assumptions in here, right? Average gross commission is $40,500. That's what my assumption is. All right. So here's how easy I want to break this down where I think it's so easy for people to like understand the power of this. So like, let's just assume this is going to be like a 7-year plan, right? Like what's possible in 7 years if you attracted 2 agents every single year, 1 every 6 months. I think that literally we got 30 people on the call. If I asked who can recruit 2 agents per year, everybody would say they could, right? So let's just say that. So you put 2 agents in here in your first year, right? And then we're going to have each of those have 1. So that means you're going to have at the end of the first year, 4 agents. Okay. And that's how you look at it. The average agent, what you're going to see, the average agent will attract 2 agents. Like that's just, in big numbers, that's what people see is that the average agent attracts 2 agents over the course of the time that they're here, right? So that means some agents get 0, some agents get 100, right? Like, or 10 or 15, whatever, but the average is going to be 2. So that's going to be our number that we're going to use on all of these levels. So that's year 1, right? And you're going to earn basically about just under $3,000 in revenue share there. Year 2, right? You're going to put 2 more on. So you're going to be at 4. And then again, now your level 2 will have put on an average of 2 agents, and you'll have an average of 1 agent already on your level 3. This is year 2, right? So now you have 4 agents on your level 1, 8 agents on your level 2, 8 agents on your level 3, right? So 20 agents total in your downline. You'll earn about $6,600 in revenue share that year, year 2. Still, nothing that probably is life-changing yet for some people, but for some that is, $500 a month, like that could help out, right? That's year 2. Year 3, you put on another 2. That's going to stay at 2 because now you go to 12 on level 2, but now this goes to 2 and this goes to 1, right? Now you have 66 agents in year 3, and you're earning about $30,000 in residual income from 6 agents that you've personally sponsored. That's turned into 66. It's the end of year 3. Year 4, you attract 8 now to another 2. Now this is duplicating out further and further, right? Like it's starting to build out. You've got 8 personal agents, 184 in your organization. You're making about $43,000 in residual income. Now, again, the reason why that didn't jump very much is you're only still getting paid the full amount on levels 1 and 2. Levels 3, 4, 5, 6, which you don't have any on 6 and 7 yet, but don't unlock, again, you don't unlock 3 until you get to 10. So now let's just say here, you put on another 2 agents. Now it's going to open up. This is how it builds, guys. And then you put another one on here. Now you're at 129. Then you put on another 2, 1. Now you're at 271. Now you put on, let's just say you put on 3, right? So this is your 7th year. You put on that so you can open up that 4th level. And then you have 2 here. $504,000. So you can see where the money's made. It's at the end of all of this. It's not at the beginning. So this is not a get rich quick scheme at all. Right? I mean, it can be for some if you come in here and you've got, tons of connections and you're attracting agents like, Brent Gove and Jay Kinder and, people like that. I mean, yeah, you can, crush it and have thousands of agents within your first couple of years. But for most people, if you're just, kind of doing this from what you've built, just you're an agent, right? And you just have sold some homes, but you weren't like a coach or anything like that. You weren't networked with a bunch of real estate agents. It's going to probably build out a little slower. Now, I'm not saying that's for everybody. Like if you want to make this thing full time and you're going to quit your sales job and you're just going to go out there and attract agents all the time, you can, force this a little bit faster. But even still, you can see that in 7 years, if I told you in 7 years you could be making 500 grand in passive income, I'm sure you would agree that that would be worth it, right? And so even in 6 years, you're still making good income along that whole time, so you're back here to 12, 271, you'd make that your 6th year. Everybody would probably be just fine with that, right? You come here, you go back to 10 on your 5th year, and you're making $129,000 on top of your sales. So again, this is where, again, you want to figure out how much money do you want to make in residual income? How much do you want to make on your 3rd year, right? Like if you want to make, let's say your goal is to make $40,000 on your 3rd year in residual income. Well, in this scenario, right, you'd have 6, 2, 1, 0. 0. Let's see. So that's year 1. It was like that. 0, 0, 0. Year 2, you had 2, 1. Year 3, you had 2, 1. You're at basically, if you've attracted 2 per month or 2 per year, you're about $30,000 annually in residual income from this size of an organization after 3 years. Is that what you want? Is that not what you want? Do you need more money than that? Do you want more money than that? Then maybe let's say you want 10, right? And then you want to help them duplicate a little bit better, right? Like maybe you wanted to get $100,000 after 3 years. Well, this is how you do it, right? Like you need about 100 and so agents to make that. And so anyways, guys, I think that's enough about the rev share calculator. Play around with it. You can use this one here on revsharecalculator.com. It's the exact same numbers. Like literally if you put in here, what I've got in here, let's just say 10, 2, 2, 2, 2, right? To make it easy. You put that in here, you're attracting 10, 2, 2, 2. You calculate it down below, 291,195, 291,195, exact same thing. The only reason I use this so I can see the agents, right, on each level. All right, cool. So that's how it works, guys. You can see how it builds out, the amount of time that it takes. So don't underestimate the time. Right? A lot of people, they think that it's a get rich quick thing. Like if they're not making revenue share in the first 4 months, they're like, I'm done with this. Like that's not what it is. Right? So put that in your business plan, expect it. Don't be disappointed. Right? So anyways, but see what the power is. Okay. All right. Now that being said, there's a tool that you're going to want to use to help you visualize this, to put it up in front of you, to have it, inspire you, to, keep you focused on what you need to do. And that's called the wealth chart. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. You're going to want to display this somewhere that you can see it every single day. All right. And I've got an easy way for you to get your well chart. You can make them yourself if you want, but if you don't want to make it, you just want to like buy something, I'll show you how you can do that. But you want to have this be something that's big and something that you can see. Put it in your office to where you see it every single day. I've got my well chart posted. You can't see it. It's right in front of me, in front of my computer here. And so I look at it every single day. I update it every single day, right? It's something that inspires me. It motivates me. You want it to be somewhere that you're going to see it. You can either use erasable markers or sticky notes, depending on what you print it on. If it's on like what I'll show you, I print mine on a PVC board, which is kind of, you can use dry erase markers. You can erase and all that kind of stuff. And I'll show you how you can do that. If it's on like a foam board or something, well, then you're going to need to use sticky notes so you can move things around and change it around. Let me actually here, I'm going to pull this up here so you can see it. So this is what I use right here. This is the well chart, right? You can print this out. It's sized so you can put it on a 24 by 24 board. So 2 feet by 2 feet board. You've got, here's all the circles that you're going to put names in of the agents that you've attracted, right? So all the circles are the agents you've personally attracted. Okay, personally. This is not in your organization. This is personally. So the top row is agents that you've attracted. Like, so the first agent goes here, the second agent goes on the one next to it, the third agent goes on the one next to it. And you notice you have 5 agents on that first row, because basically you want to get those 5 agents so you can unlock the next level, right? So once you've gotten 5 agents, you've now unlocked the level next to it. So you see this is how this works. There's squares and then there's circles. The squares represent how many agents you've attracted on that level. So the first square next to it, you'll notice there's a 2,800, because that's the maximum amount of revenue share you can earn from an agent on that level. And so you'll write in however many agents you have on that level. So whatever number is next to that 2,800 is going to be how many people you have in the circles. So say you have 6 agents you've personally sponsored, you'll have 6 sticky notes, or you'll have 6 names written on here if you have erasable ink, right? And you'll put 6 names in these circles, and then you'll put a big 6 right in the square box next to 28. Now, if you have agents on your second level, say you have 3 agents on your second level, you're going to put that number in here for 32. But now you got to realize that you don't unlock this $3,200 maximum amount until you have 5 names written in these circles next to it, because that's how you unlock that $3,200 for the revenue share on level 2. Same thing, level 3, right? $3,200, but you're not going to unlock that same $3,200 until you actually have 10 agents in your organization personally sponsored. Actually, I think these numbers are off. I'm just looking at this one. I downloaded this one from what is it? The Veenstra group, but I think these numbers are off here a little bit. So you might want to change these up. But I know 2,800's right. I know 3,200's right, but I think that goes down to 2,000 if I'm not mistaken. So anyways, just realize that. But either way, the circles line up, the squares line up. And then on this one here, again, same thing. This is your 4th level. You need another 3 agents. So this puts you at 15 agents that you personally need to sponsor. And so that's it. So you put all the ones that you've sponsored in these circles. And then what I write up in this top right corner, or what I use a sticky note for and put it on that top right corner, is agents that are in my hot prospects. These are people that I've exposed them to the model, or they're open to being exposed to the model. Like maybe they're going to come with me to a lunch or a webinar, but they're hot prospects. Like I don't just put anybody there. I put hot prospects, people that are on my list of people that I think will eventually move over. So then at that point, what I can do is just erase their name and put it in a circle, or take the sticky note and put it on the circle once they officially join. That's how I look at that. All right. So that's how that works. The goals up here, I put in, again, my income goals, what I want annually. As far as like the annual goal is what you want to be making in a year from now, right? Like, so in 12 months, what is your annual goal? Do you want to make $500 a month in revenue share? Put a big $500. Put, whatever it is, right? Like that motivates me more than just seeing a number of agents, which you're going to have a number of agents over here on the bottom right anyways. So I like to put the numbers up here, like how much I want to make, because that's going to be truly, I've got a freedom number. I know that if I was making $10,000 a month in residual income, that would pay all my bills, right? Like, so that's my freedom number. So that's a big number for me, right? Like that I want to hit. as far as my annual goal. And then truly your goal here is like, what is your goal? Like, I mean, like, where do you stop? Where would you be satisfied? If you looked back, 5 years, what would you be thinking? Like, okay, I was successful. I did what I wanted to do. So maybe this is a 3-year goal of making $100,000 annually in residual income. Put that there. So, that's kind of going to line up with your why. Like, what is it that you need out of this to make you happy that you're doing it? And again, maybe that's, financially, maybe it's just, something else, but make your goal be something that means something to you. Okay. And then down here, this is your monthly goals as far as how many personals you want for January, February, March, April, May. And if it's already like right now, we're in September, still fill out every single one, put what your September goal is, October, November, and then this goes into next year, January of next year, February of next year, personally, team-wise, right? So that's kind of how you need to look at it. Try and use the rev share calculator to help you plan for it and put the right numbers in there. So that way, you're not putting like unrealistic things and you're not putting things that don't really match up. So that's how you're going to fill that out. If you want to easily print this out, I use Build-A-Sign. You go to buildasign.com. I get a 24 by 24 PVC board, right? So that way you can write on it. Full color, single-sided. It'll cost you about $38 shipped to your house. All right. If you just want it the easy way. Otherwise, you can go spend $5, go down to Office Depot, pick up just, a poster board and, make this thing yourself. Right. So whatever you want to do, that's how you can do it. So anyways, that's pretty much it, guys. That kind of covers the wealth chart. That covers your business plan. I think that, if you take the time to do this, it will help you in your business, right? Like you've got to get super clear before you can move forward at any, pace, like, to really build this quickly. You have to be very clear on what you're willing to do to it and what you want out of it. So, all right, guys, well, that's it. I'm going to open up the lines here. I'm going to look back at the chats and we'll get into questions. We'll get into thoughts and feedback from people. All right. I've allowed everybody to unmute yourselves. So if you want to chime in, feel free to do that. I'm just going to be reading some of the stuff here. So, Tom, I appreciate it. I'm seeing you, you're keeping up on the feed for me. Thank you for that. Good morning, Mario. Do you use a software to track your contacts that reminds you to follow up and keep notes on each contact? I do, Elizabeth. Oh, that was something I did want to show. Elizabeth, I use Follow Up Boss. Yeah, okay, Tom, I saw that you just added that. I use Follow Up Boss, but honestly, here's a list, an easy list that you can make in Excel that I actually used for a little while I got started. And this is what I recommend agents use, if they just don't want to invest any money right away, is a simple Excel spreadsheet, right? The date that you added the name to your list, the first name, last name, email address, phone number, the source of how you came into contact with that person, how you know them. Keep them short and sweet. Like don't make, 1,000 different sources, literally like no more than 5 or 7 sources, I would say. Like if it's just a friend, like just put, sphere of influence, right? Like you don't need to put like met this person at a, builder trade show or whatever. Like keep it short and sweet. If you met them through a Facebook, group, just put social media, however it is, but just, the basics. If you met them at an event, put them in an event. The last contact. So this is the date that you last contacted them with either an email, a phone call, a voicemail, a text message, right? And what was it, right? Like did you text them this? Did you, set up a lunch? Did you meet them face to face? Have you sent them a guide yet, right? Which sometimes like I've got a guide and it's basically all just the slides that eXp presents or puts out. It's just all of those slides in a PDF, right? So everybody could create that. You could go and download all the slides because you can download the slides off eXp's website and then just export them in PowerPoint to PDF. That's all I did, right? And that's my guide. So I can give that out. If people want, more information, I just say, here's the guide. And it's basically all the slides just in PDF format. So I've got a guide. Have I sent them the webinar, right? Which sometimes I kind of interchange webinar or video, right? Have they watched it? Have they been on a 3-way call or been to a lunch and learn? Have I sent them a demo of eXp World, right? Have I sent them my sign up link so that way they could actually join, apply to eXp, right? And then any kind of other notes that I want to keep on that person. That's it. That's all you need, right? Like simple Excel spreadsheet, won't pay any money for this and it'll keep you organized. So again, these are just, the things that you want to create for that list. All right. Let's see here. What else do we got in the chat? And guys, again, feel free to unmute yourselves. If you got questions, if you got thoughts.
So just on that spreadsheet, Kyle, the eXp World Tour, is there an automatic tour that you send them to, or you're actually walking them through the tour?
No, the world tour. So most of the time what I'm doing is I'm just setting them up on a demo. So do all of you guys know? So if you don't know, you can actually, like in Enterprise, you can send somebody a guest account for eXp World. So for instance, if I come over here and I scroll down, you'll see, let's see, where is it? Guest request form, eXp World guest request form. You just click on that, send an invite to the guest. All you need is their first name, last name, email address, and that's it. You don't have to put their phone or their reason. And it's going to send them an email to where they can have a guest account and get into eXp World. And it's good for 2 weeks. And so literally they can go in, they can check out training, they can check out our support staff. And, and that's a very helpful thing for somebody that's, trying to think if this is going to be right for them or not. And sometimes I will meet them in the world and I might help, walk them around their first time just so that way they're not getting confused or whatever. But other times, most people just figure it out. So they just kind of go in there. All right.
Hi, Kyle, Marie. How you doing?
Hey, Marie.
Hey, listen, real quick, when you were talking about the Excel sheet versus the follow-up boss, you had stated that you started with the Excel sheet, but that follow-up boss pretty much kind of like does a summary of everything, correct? Because that's the route I'm probably going to go anyway, because it's just so much info. So that pretty much works for you now. Is that follow-up boss?
I use follow-up boss because I can scale a little bit easier with it, right? Like there's no way with an Excel spreadsheet I can easily text message a lot of people quickly with it, right? Like you'd have to like copy paste or, just right. It becomes harder, right? And then same thing with emails. Like there's not an easy way for you to send an email blast out to, 300 agents if I wanted to with it, because I'd have to copy all the emails. But then it's like, what do? You blind carbon copy everyone? No, right. I mean, you don't want to do that. And so like, follow-up boss makes it easy for me to, send out bulk emails, send out text messages very quickly. I can slice and dice just like I can, a database on Excel, but I can do that in follow-up boss. I can track my results a little bit easier in there, to kind of see how many phone calls I made, how many text messages I made, that week, that month, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's why I use follow-up boss. But awesome. In the beginning, if you only have a list of 50 people or something, like, it might not be as important, right? But I mean, I've got a pretty hefty list at this point of people that I like to stay in contact with. And so it's just something that became a necessity for me.
That's correct. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. All right. What else?
Does the follow-up boss allow you to have reminders of, oh, I need to follow up with this person in 2 months?
It does. Yep. You can set to-dos and tasks for it. So, and you can even integrate, I think, your calendar, like your Gmail calendar on there. So if you want it to show up on there, you can. But yeah, you can definitely set up to-dos where it's like, you got off the phone with this person. They said, call me back in 3 months. You put it to do there in 3 months, and it's going to remind you when you log in, whenever that to-do is up, that, you got to do that day. All right, let's see. How do we get the ball rolling with an agent that you want to invite to a lunch and learn? What questions do you ask, and what does the invitation look like, especially if you don't really know them that well? So, I mean, at that point, Mark, I mean, what I would say is, you want to get to know them pretty well, right? Like, you at least want to see if their gate is open. I wouldn't pitch, a lunch and learn without knowing where they're standing as far as being open-minded to an opportunity. And to know if they're open-minded to an opportunity, you got to know a little bit about them, right? Like, how long have they been in real estate? Like, how are they doing this year? Like, what's their business look like? Like, are they trying to grow? Are they, are they coming down? Are they trying to, pack it in, right? Like, are they happy with real estate? Are they not happy with real estate? Do they love their brokerage? Do they not love their brokerage? Like, find out about the person. And if they, if it's like, you don't want to just, for one, of course, you wouldn't want to just like spam and send it out to people regardless of what you know. And if you don't know that much, I still probably wouldn't offer that as the next step. The next step might be for me to, go have coffee with the person and just learn a little bit about them and learn a little bit about their business. And then if that conversation goes the way that I want it to, I might say, hey, by the way, we're doing a lunch this Friday, man. I'd love for you just to, be my guest and come with me and check out what I'm into and see if it's something for you. If it's not, no big deal. That's kind of how the approach I would take. I wouldn't just, if I hadn't talked to this agent in 4 months, be like, hey, we're doing a lunch this Friday. Do you want to come? Like, that's just, you're going to get no's. You're going to probably, maybe even ruin the opportunity for, down the road. But most people, agents wise, if you, had some relationship, draw off that and say, hey, I thought you were a great agent. I know we haven't connected in a few months, but, I'd love to hear about your business and what you've been up to and kind of share, my business and just kind of talk about things that we're doing for lead generation and things that we're doing, to, further our business. And take them, to coffee or lunch, or, if worst case scenario, pick up the phone and say, hey, can we, jump on a phone call, and do that. So that's what I would do to get that ball rolling there, Mark.
Hey,
let's see. What's up, Tom?
This is Tom. Hey, can I just add to that?
Sure.
I think first of all, just like today, for example, Sherry recruited somebody recently. They joined her team. She has a neighbor who is, I can't say a lot, but she's high up and she's, neighbor. They've been talking about it. She's with one of the top 2 agencies in the city, and they've just been having a conversation. And so what she's said to Sherry is, look, she's open to just meeting and beginning a dialogue, but she's not a high pressure kind of a person. And that's perfectly fine because frankly, we aren't either. So we're just going to go have lunch and just talk to her. And I think oftentimes people that are beginning this process get so concerned that they've got to hit a home run every time that they forget, sometimes it just takes a lot of relationship building and waiting for that right time. So you're not going to get a home run pitch every time, and you don't have to worry about that. It's really just about building relationships, and it's not a fail if you walk away from a lunch and they didn't sign up. The reality of it is almost no one's going to do that unless they just hate where they're at now. And if they do, you got to wonder, if they have that bad an attitude, then, is it really someone that you want to engage right now? Or don't you want to know more about it anyways, just to find out if it would be a more complicated relationship than you'd like? So I would just encourage people to not think so much about agent attraction. And it's really just about agent relationships. You're just building relationships with other people, just like you would if you went to church and talked to somebody about kids. You're going to talk to them about their kids, about their goals, about their experience. People love to hear about them, to be asked about them. And so just ask them questions about themselves, about them, and build a relationship first. And then the opportunity will become available as you start to see how the things that they're challenged with can be answered through our model with eXp. So.
That's absolutely right. Yep. Tom said it best. It's all about the relationships, guys. And the thing is, because what I've found is, every time, I go talk to an agent, they might be open, at that point to be exposed to the model. But the more relationships that I build, the more people that eventually end up reaching out to me when they're ready. Right. So those are the ones that now it's okay, let's get them to a presentation. Because you put all these irons in the fire just by keeping relationships going. And the more relationships you have out there, you will, hit a home run every now and then on an agent that it's just the right timing when you go to meet with them and talk to them about how they're doing. And maybe it's right for you to invite them to a thing, but the majority are not going to be at the right time at that point. But if you build a good enough relationship with them, they'll come back to you, when they're ready or when something happens. Cause, I don't know what the statistic is, but there's a thing that talks about how quick, how often people change brokerages. And, and there's all sorts of reasons why they're going to change, but you don't know when that's going to be. And so you just have to kind of be there for them whenever that comes up. So yeah, great insight there, Tom. Cool. All right. What else, guys? Let's see what else we got here. Let me go to Facebook and see if I missed anything over here. Would KV Core work? A lot of people ask that about KV Core. I do know that you can do it with KV Core. There's actually a place on KV Core where you can put in if they're a buyer, a seller, or an agent. So, you could put in, agents into your KV Core. I've never done that. For me, I don't know. I need to keep my stuff separate. And when I have them all on, KV Core, it's just a little confusing because then I get, leads mixed up with agents, and it's just not as clear as having a completely separate database. But Trent, I know that you definitely can, and I know that agents do. I would say, if that works for you, then try it. If you feel like it's like, do it for 3 months or 2 months. And if it's not something that you're going to, it's not like your go-to every single day where you feel comfortable using it, then you might want to, try and separate it out. But it's not a bad thing. I mean, you can do a lot of the same stuff that Follow Up Boss does as far as sending out text messages and emails through KV Core. It's probably going to be a little bit better than a database, right? Like just an Excel spreadsheet. But if it's getting confusing because people are getting kind of mixed up with leads, then then you might want to consider going into something that's separate. Cool. Let's see. Do closed referrals count toward your production benchmark to qualify for rev share, or is it just your personal production? Referrals do count, Tiffany. So as far as counting and qualifying for rev share, and I'm assuming that I'm understanding this question right. So if you guys don't know that are on the call right now, is if you don't do a deal every 6 months, I think it's either a minimum of 2 closed transactions or $5,000 in gross commission income, you are no longer eligible to earn revenue share without paying a $250 fee out of your revenue share for that month. Meaning, like, say if you are Scott Lewis, right? He hasn't sold a house and who knows, how long, if he's, not been with, I don't know if he's sold a house with eXp or not, but either way, right? Like say you're Scott Lewis and you're making a lot of money in revenue share. He hasn't sold a house in 6 months. They're going to take $250 out of his revenue share each month, which he's fine with that, right? Like that's not going to hurt him or hurt his revenue share at all. But now let's say you're an agent and you haven't closed a deal in 6 months, and you do have a couple agents in your revenue share organization, maybe you're earning $1,000 a month. Well, then the first $250 they'll take out if you've not closed 2 transactions or done $5,000 in GCI in the last 6 months, right? And so they'll take the first $250 out. Now, if you're not earning revenue share and you haven't done a deal in 6 months or 2 deals or 5,000 in GCI, then you don't pay the $250. That's only if you're earning revenue share. They take the first $250 out if you've not closed 2 transactions or done 5,000 in GCI. And so your question, Tiffany, like let's say, for instance, you got a referral, right? And you earned $1,600 for the referral and you closed 1 deal that was $4,000 in income for you. That would allow you to be over that $5,000 benchmark in the last 6 months. So you would then not pay that $250 fee. You would then be considered a active qualifier for revenue share. So I don't know if I hope that's what you were referring to, but that's the answer there. Kyle, can I watch this always on Facebook Live on Tuesdays? I can't log into my Zoom. Yeah, absolutely, Cindy. I plan to put it here to Team Disruptor all the time. And let's see, Brad. Good morning, Brad. So cool. Well, that's what I missed there. Let me see, go back over here, see if I missed anything in Zoom. Where can we get the Excel Rev calculator? Does the calculator know to not calculate the next level until, yes, it does. Elizabeth, I don't have that, the Excel one available. And to be honest, I don't really want to put it out there. I don't have any disclaimers or anything like that. So the one that's already up available for people, the revsharecalculator.com, that's one I would say to use because they've already got kind of a disclaimer. And I just literally use this for my own, just for like business planning kind of stuff. But the one that I would suggest you to use is this revsharecalculator.com. It's got the disclaimer out there. I share this with people so they can kind of, think of what this model is available or can do. And it does factor in the different levels. Like, so for instance, like you can see here, like when you go from say 5 agents, calculate. So that means that you're getting levels 1 and 2. Level 3 is extremely low, but then you put in 10. Now, of course, that makes all of your agents go up, but you can see there it unlocks levels 3, 15 unlocks levels 4, 20 unlocks levels 5, 25 unlocks level 6, 40. Oh, sorry, I don't even have this shared. I'm just, y'all are probably just sitting there like, what is he doing? Yeah. So here you go. So you can see here, like 5, calculate. So level 2, you're going to get paid on that, but level 3 is really low. So when you have 10 agents, you can see there, level 3 boosts up 15. So it does factor in the exponential shares all the way down to 40. You now are making a lot of money at that point. So cool. Hope that makes sense to everybody there. All right. Let's see. What else did I miss? Blessings to you, Marie. Good to see you. All right. Got to run. AC guys there. Oh, man. All right, Tom. See you later. Agent that attended the 5 p.m. Zoom call last week and really liked the model. She's seen it before too, but is stuck on her broker being a $125 transaction fee. Any tips? Yeah, Mario. I mean, for people that are in a flat fee brokerage, I would just say that there's a vast majority of, or a lot of agents at eXp that are earning more than 100% of their commissions, right? You just say that, if they do plan to do revenue share. Now, you want to be very clear. You don't want to try and sell somebody on something that's not going to be important to them. Like, don't tell them that they're going to be more than 100% if they have no real interest in revenue share. They don't sell very much. Like, they only sell 2, 3, 4, 5 deals a year. Like, that's probably not even a good candidate unless they're planning to really scale up their business. In which case, then you just want to run the numbers with people and say, look, all right, so you're doing that amount of production. Maybe it is better for you right now to be at that flat fee brokerage. But from what you're telling me, you want to grow your business. You want to do 20, 30 deals a year, right? Like, you want to, get more training. You want to get more, systems and tools. Like, you want to use that to your advantage and say, like, so let's just assume you're at your brokerage and you're doing 20 deals a year, $125 a month or per transaction. That's going to be, what is that, over, just say $2,500, $3,000 a year. It's like, okay, so, transaction wise, if you come to eXp, you are going to pay more money per transaction. But if you attracted, let's just say, 5 agents over the next year, or 6 agents that are capping agents over the next year, you're going to get paid in revenue share over $16,000 from that. And that'll offset what you're paying in. So if you do see this model and you do, because you're saying here, she really likes the model. If she really does like the model and believes in it, then she should believe that she can attract 6 agents in a year, right? Or maybe 6 agents in 2 years. But either way, you want to just have that conversation about, if you're looking to grow your business, then this is something that's viable. If you're not, if you're just going to, sell 2, 3, 4 homes a year and you really aren't going to do it, you probably don't even want to sell them on eXp because it's not the right fit for them. And so you got to use that to your advantage. Just let them know too. I mean, you can talk about the difference between, kind of renting your business versus owning your business. There's a lot of people that, that's what they use for talking to people that are at a flat fee brokerage. Because essentially, if you're at a flat fee brokerage, you're just renting your business every month. You're not building anything. You're not building wealth in stock. You're not building wealth in rev share. So nothing's really happening. If you leave that flat fee brokerage 2 years from now, you won't have anything to show for it. And so just have that kind of dialogue and say, is that worth it? I know it's more expensive at eXp, but at the same point, do you also want the opportunity to build something that's worth something in the next few years? Or do you just want to be where you're at today? And that's kind of, you just put that on them and see if that's, what they want to do. She's doing about 60 deals a year. Oh, perfect. Yeah. I mean, if she's doing a lot of money, that's even easier to say, like, look, if you're doing 60 deals a year, you'd be an icon agent here at eXp, you'd get your $16,000 back. You're going to be probably somebody that's going to attract agents because, agents go to the people that they look up to and respect. And I'm sure people respect her. Right. And so, yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of different ways you can go about it, but, talk about the money. Definitely, like, don't slight it. Like, say, look, this is what you're going to spend, $125 at 60 deals a year. That's going to cost you $7,500 at your current brokerage. Here at eXp, that's probably going to cost you about $25,000, right? Because you're going to pay $16,000 for cap. You're going to pay $250 for the next 20, and then $75 for the next, 30 after that, right? Because it would be about 12, 13 deals to cap. So realistically, she's probably going to pay about 25 grand to eXp. So, like, have that conversation. Let her know, like, you're not trying to, like, deny the fact that she's going to pay more money, but say, look, this is what you're going to get for $17,000 extra at eXp. You're going to get the opportunity to build, revenue share. And if you need to get her on the phone with somebody that's earning revenue share to show, like, what's possible, then do that, right? Like maybe make that the next step, right? I want to get you on the phone call with somebody who's built revenue share. It's in my sponsorship line that, we will have as part of our organization that can help me, help you, help me. And we'll make you more than that 17,000, or like you'll get stock in the company, right? Like go that route with it. All sorts of different ways that you can kind of talk about that. So cool.
Hey, Kyle.
Yes.
I think that that scenario plays out over and over, at least in some of the people that I've talked to recently, where they're stuck on that. They can't get past, well, I earn 100% and only pay a flat fee. And that's kind of where the suggestion came from a couple of weeks ago, where I said, man, it'd be nice to kind of spread it out and see, okay, what does year 1 look like? Obviously, they'd make more money than we would if we do a comparison, but what does year 5 look like, year 10? If all the numbers were kind of correct and we could do a side-by-side comparison, I think that'd be very helpful for all of us to kind of see the bigger picture of what numbers would look like.
Mm-hmm.
Shareable.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, no, that's a great suggestion, Mark. I'm sure we can probably set something up. I don't have anything like that drafted up right now, but yeah, it's all those things I use on a that's why I don't have anything drafted, but it would be nice to have some examples. I definitely get what you're saying. But a lot of the times when I'm sitting down, I'm just like flowing, like I'm just like talking through it with people, and like using their scenario, kind of coming back to like what that looks like for eXp and just kind of going with it. Cause everybody's scenario is a little bit different. Like, you've got people that like they do 24 deals or they do 60 deals or they do 4 deals, right? Like, and you kind of have to like tailor it for who you're looking at. But I definitely think that we could have like 3 common scenarios, right? Like you got somebody that's not really a capper, you got somebody that would be a capper, you got somebody that's an icon agent, and you got somebody that's like far exceeding an icon agent, right? Like those would be kind of the scenarios that you might want to kind of have in your back pocket. So yeah, we can definitely talk about the differences of what you see when you do that. But yeah, and then it all comes down to, I know that you say, Mario, that she is, she likes this model, or that she's, is definitely excited about this model. But that's the thing, is like being excited and like having belief is 2 totally different things. You got to get her to believe that it's not only real for other people, that it's real for her. Because why else would she spend an extra $17,000 or whatever it's going to end up amounting to, that difference, if she doesn't truly believe that it's going to be able to impact her business positively, right? So you're still working on a belief there. And a lot of times when you're working on that belief, you got to get them to talk to somebody who is either in their shoes or has done something similar to what they're doing, right? Like that'll go a long way. If you get an agent at eXp that's doing 60 deals a year, to say like, hey, I totally saw what you're thinking, when I joined, but this is what's happened for me, right? Like that I think is so important. And so cool. Let's see. And then, we got a question here. Let's see. Amy C, I think that my question got lost. Basically, is there a link that we can use each week to invite people to this call? Absolutely, Amy. Just send them to thetuesdaymastermind.com. That's it. That's all you got to do. thetuesdaymastermind.com. And if they miss this call, like literally, guys, I got all of these calls going back for like 3-4 months on my YouTube page. You can go to Agent Attractors on YouTube and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you get a notification whenever I post a new one of these. But I put these up usually within 24 hours after we do them on my YouTube page. And so just go to Agent Attractors and subscribe to that YouTube channel, and you can get all of these past trainings. And then also, if you join the Monday Masterminds, the ones that I do for real estate sales training, all of those are on my personal YouTube channel, which is just Kyle Handy, if you just search YouTube. So you can subscribe to that channel if you want sales training.
Hey,
cool.
Kyle.
Hey, what's up, Latrice?
Hi. So, I guess it was last week when Scott did that live training. And then he kind of had us do the contacting a couple of agents. Like he was like, go. And you had to call them and see if they were interested in you sending over just a quick video. And I'm a relationship builder type person. So the people that I sent it to, they're now, like when I tried to follow up and call to see if they watched it, had, and get their feedback on it, I'm just going to voicemail. So do you, send a text message and then and then if you do get on the phone, do you backtrack and try to just make it conversational instead of just only making the phone call about, the eXp model, explain that you sent them? Like that would, because anybody else I've had the opportunity to kind of, do what you said, just ask them how long they've been in the business, how are things going, that type of thing. But that was just kind of a on the spot call, send them the video.
Yeah. So what Latrice is talking about is Scott Lewis held a training, and he basically, from what I understand, I wasn't there, I don't think, for the whole thing, but he was talking about was it the one where he was telling you you can call people that in other markets and try and get the names of a real estate agent, and then call that real estate agent up and use that person, kind of the triangle of trust?
No, it was one before that where he just said, pull out your cell phone, go through it. So agents that you've either, worked with or that you just know who aren't obviously with eXp. And it was just calling them up and saying, hey, good morning. Just wanted to know if you had a couple of minutes for a quick business call. And then if they were like, yeah, and it was just like, well, I have, I forgot what the word was, but it was I forgot what we had to say to them initially. And then just ask them if they, would take a minute to review, to look at this video. And then I would follow up with them to see what their thoughts were. And I don't even know if we used the word EXP. I'm just kind of, all my thoughts are jumbling at the moment.
Yeah,
but we did that. So there was no rapport building. I called a couple of agents that I had either submitted offers on or something when they had a listing. So one out of the three that I called was open to the quick business call and said, yeah, sure, send me the video. I sent it by text, and then I've been trying to follow up, but I've been going to voicemail, so I didn't follow up by text message and say, hey, did you get an opportunity to look at the video? So I was saying, one, should I do that? And then if they don't respond to the text, do I continue to call? And if I get them on the phone, do I just go straight in and say, hey, did you look at the video? Or is it just like, hey, I don't know.
Yeah. So here's the thing. And I mean, I don't know, I guess Scott's style is a little bit different than mine, right? Like, for one, like, I don't know that I would recommend that in general. Like, maybe he was trying to like break down people's fears and all that kind of stuff, which I definitely think is important to do. You can't be afraid to make the call, but I don't know that like what you're telling me here is like the way that I would have done it. So like, as far as the scenario now, like that you find yourself in, I would say you continue to follow up 100%. Make sure you don't, stop following up with that person. But if they didn't answer your phone call and you either left a message, or if you haven't texted them, I'd probably text them. I usually follow up my phone calls with texts anyways. I would try and find that person on Facebook, maybe send them a friend request, just so it's a little bit more personal. And the problem with sending a videos in general is most of the time they're not going to watch it, right? Like, that's just, if you get somebody, especially out of the blue like that, even if they're nice enough on the phone to say like, yeah, I'll watch it, they're just trying to get you off the phone most of the time. And so like, what I, again, try and do with people is, build connection. And then at that point, get them to watch a presentation with me, right? Like, cause then they watch it. And so like, if you're going to get a commitment to anything, it's that like, and if you're taking that same strategy, if you want to do that, then just get the commitment that they'll watch something with you, like join the webinar with you. So you see them on there and they're going to be there, right? Or, get them to, watch the video with you on Zoom. Like, I know people, it's called the press play strategy. You say, hey, okay, cool. So you'll watch it. What time are you available? Schedule the next meeting with them and say, look, I'll send you a Zoom link. You're going to come in. I'm just going to share my screen. I'm going to press play on the YouTube video. That way I'm here. If you've got questions, I can answer them on the spot. And then at the end, if I, need to get somebody to come jump in the Zoom room with me to, give you their testimonial, you can do that too, right? Like, that's kind of the approach. That way, they watch the video. Otherwise, they're going to say it. They're not going to watch the video. And then they're just going to dodge you because now they kind of know what you're doing the whole time. So at this point, to answer your question, Latrice, of like what I would do is I would try and get back on track, especially if this was an agent you had a relationship with. Like, you want to build that relationship back. You might have, hurt it a little bit in the sense, like, if they just thought that now you're trying to spam them or something, like, they might not like that. But at the same point, you can always repair it, right? And so like, if the next time you get them on the phone, just be like, hey, like, mention it, like, hey, did you get a chance to watch the video? I just want you to know, like, I do think highly of you, and that's why, sent you this. But at the same point, like, if it's not for you, I totally get it. I just really want to, make sure that we've got a great relationship and try and like build that back. That's kind of the approach that I would take. And if they say like, if they're very nice about it, like, no, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I still, would like to, then of course, then, still pursue that and say, great, well, hey, let's do this. Can we watch it together? Like, are you free in the next week? What time are you free? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to send you a link so that way you can join me. I'm going to put it on my calendar. So that way they know that it's a little bit more important that they stay true to their appointment with you. It's not just like, hey, will you watch this video when you get time? Does that make sense, Latrice?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Yep. All right. What else, guys? Let's see. Anything else that I missed? I don't think so. So guys, just a point to make here is that tonight we are doing the Tuesday executive overview like we do every Tuesday. It's at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Go and register right now at tuesdayexecutiveoverview.com. It's going to send you an email with instructions on how to join. It's just a Zoom call like what we're doing right now. It lasts about an hour from 5 to 6 o'clock. And it's important, even if you don't have an agent on there, that you see the presentation, that you hear it multiple times, right? Like I've heard the presentation probably going on close to 200 to 300 times, right? Like, but whether it's at lunch and learns or webinars or watching a video, like I've seen this presentation more times than I can remember. But the good thing is it's helped me become a better presenter. It gets me plugged in every single week. And so I highly recommend you join the Tuesday Executive Overview tonight, even if you don't have somebody, and especially if you've never joined it before, because once you've joined it and you've seen it the first time, now you know what you're inviting people to. You know how to, kind of present the opportunity. You feel a little bit more comfortable about it. And so that's tonight at 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Curtis Dixon and myself do it. We basically just, we do about 30 minutes of the business model, and we talk about how everything works. Stock, the rev share, the splits, the fees, the training, all that kind of stuff. And then I do like a demo where I share my screen and I go through all of our tools. I take them through eXp World. I take them through KB Core. I take them through, Workplace and Enterprise. And I show them firsthand how everything works at eXp. And then at the end of the presentation, I say, hey, get back to the person that invited you to this webinar. And, if you got more questions. So I highly recommend you get on there yourself and try and bring somebody, right? Try and invite somebody. If you're close or you've got them on the fence, or maybe they've seen a different presentation and you just want them to get more plugged in, invite them to this one, right? They can come every single week. It's just tuesdayexecutiveoverview.com. So anyways, guys, we're well past our 10 o'clock. So I'm going to get everybody off here. We're going to call it. But I look forward to seeing everybody next week, next Tuesday. And if I don't see you already tonight. So we'll talk to you later, guys. Have a good day.